Hey there, guys. So I was asked by two individuals about, information on how to train as a new father or you're expecting a little one. Two shout outs because, I got the two questions from one from Matthew in England. Shout out to you, mate. And the other one from Dan in Denmark. So, so we'll start with Matthew's question first. He was asking, he's going to be a new dad, cheap training equipment. I think he said for under £200, because that's what I believe you guys use over there. Look, honestly, probably just stick to some quality spin lock adjustable dumbbells and go find some natural stones. There's plenty of parks around and other stuff. So, you can always do your pull-ups, your dips. Remember, there's so many body weight exercises you can do. So you don't really need a huge budget. Natural stone lifting, you're going to have a lot of fun. And the other one was Dan, and he wanted to know how to adjust training. His child is really, really young. He didn't specify how many weeks, but yeah, it's... congratulations to him, but on the arrival of a new one. But training gets flipped upside down. So my best advice for, Dan and anyone else, that's expecting, work on your fitness. No one cares when you have a baby how strong you are. It's all about you and how well you can deal while being sleep deprived. For me, I had a comp in February and my little one was due mid-April. So for me, after that comp, all I did was just fitness and conditioning work. And I can tell you firsthand, it makes a massive difference. Training lighter, you recover better, and it's not as taxing on the body. But your general fitness goes a very long way, and you'll just have more energy in general. And that's the only thing that's important for those, 4 to 5 months where things can really be quite rough. Don't get hung up on your numbers as well, temporarily going backwards. It's a part of life. Be happy that you have a gift. And, no one really cares about your numbers anyway, apart from you. I mean, I've been in the sport a long time. I've gained, some decent strength in the rest of it. I still don't care what the pros lift. I don't know, and I don't really care. It's not important to me. And, if you take a deload from training, you're not going to have all these people message you saying, oh, what's happening? What's going on? Why have you lost strength? Trust me, it doesn't happen. I take a deload and no one cares. And chances are I'm a lot further along in this sport than you guys are. The other big one would be, if you want motivation in terms of taking a back seat and, enjoying life, have a look at the documentary, West Side versus the World, and you'll see what happens when people take this sport to the extreme at the sacrifice of everything else. You will just lead a miserable life. No one cares really about powerlifting. I enjoy powerlifting, but I love strength and fitness, so you just take a back seat. And in terms of strength coming back, look, 6 to 8 weeks of solid training and you'll pretty much be at your peak again. As long as you're training and working out, just lift 70 to 80% of, your 1RM, cut your volume back, by, up to 60% if you want. When I deload, I just do 2 sets. So I maintain, 2 sets of bench press on a Monday, and that coasts me for the entire week while I'm deloading. And same goes for, when I have, another little one on the way. It's always, excuse me, I got a really bad cold. No one's going to care, if you take a deload in training, but I'll tell you what, your partner will care if you take a deload because you're around a lot more and you're able to help. And that comes down to, the big one. You want to try and minimize as much stress as possible, because the more stress you can minimize, the better you're going to feel in general. There's a lot of parents today that are really, unprepared, and same with their fitness and conditioning. I remember when my first little one came around, I was 25. I found it really quite easy, had a lot of energy. This time around, being 30, I'm 31 now, but that 5 years made a big difference. I definitely noticed a lot more fatigue in general from the sleep deprivation. So, and that's the other thing, if you've got a garage gym, try and do a set or two. Don't put everything into a big workout at once. It's unrealistic. Doing 2 or 3 exercises, doing only, 2 or so sets, keep the workouts to 15-20 minutes, do some before work, some when you come home. You'll maintain, a lot of strength and mass, and that's all you really need at the end of the day. In terms of fitness, go for a 5 or 10 minute, jog. That's as much as you sort of need just to stay, healthy and well. There's plenty of office people, they sit around, they do absolutely nothing. You go for a 10-minute run each day, and you'll notice your health and well-being, it will just, increase exponentially. You're not going to lose, your gains in muscle mass from going for a 10-minute run. Look at how many professional athletes have to run, in their sports as well. Especially look at the, rugby players and such for more of an example. In terms of, what else should I really touch over? They're probably the main big topics. Like, just take a deload in your training, understand that it's going to take 4 to 5 months, and just go with the mindset of, I'm working out and I'm not having, a really structured or rigid program for the next 4 to 5 months. Enjoy the gift that you have, because, you look at powerlifting and strongman as a whole, and we tend to attract, people that have heaps of mental health issues, and you just look at the sport as a whole and you'll just see the burnouts really high. So trying to maintain artificially high peak just to say, hey, I can always, lift heavy for the sake of social media is really unrealistic. And it's going to be damaging to your health long term as well. So there's really no point in it. After your little one's won, things are really easy. They're sleeping better. You're able to structure a proper, comp prep plan if that's what you want to do. But just enjoy that time as well, that first year. The first 4 to 5 months are hard. But then after, that 5-month mark, things are a lot better. And you'll be able to, train more consistently as well. But that first year, you're only going to get that once with, your child. So just enjoy it and enjoy the gift you have, because there's so many people that sacrifice so much stupid stuff for this sport. And they don't really understand until they're older. I've always sort of looked at a few people and just thought, well, that person's an absolute, tragic person to be. So it's sort of like that saying, a wise man learns from his mistakes, but a wiser man will learn from other people's mistakes. And, I have learned from other people's mistakes, really quite well. And there's a lot of people that will just sacrifice so much for a sport that will not take care of them. And you just look at it like powerlifting, bodybuilding. If you push it to the absolute extreme, it's not going to end particularly well. But then on top of that, look at the support network you've also sacrificed. So if you're going to be in ill health and you've got absolutely no one around, that's really not going to end quite well for you at all. On the flip side, if you really enjoy powerlifting like I do, and, love more of the health and fitness and just being active and being a functional member of society, especially in today's day and age, and setting a good example for your kids, at the end of the day, you're going to be a lot better off, and you'll probably progress a lot further because you have the ability to step back when life gets in the way, and you can acknowledge it. And, having your child and things like that, treat that as a deload. That's a really decent deload as well. And, that prolonged deload of maybe up to 6 months as well, it's going to let your body completely recover. Especially for people that really struggle with substance abuse and things like that. Like, take a back seat. If you've been running heaps of supplements, get off them, because you're not going to train properly for that 6 months. Set an example for your children. Set an example for yourself as well, and just look after your health, because priorities change, and you'll feel a lot better for it as well. And it's a period in life where you just need to change your priorities. Some people don't like hearing that, but that's the reality of the situation if you look, much more broadly at the sport. They're probably my biggest points to take home. Excuse the cold and cough, trying my best. But this, pull-ups that I'm doing, I just train in the garage gym at times because sometimes that's all the time I have. Life gets in the way. You just accept it, keep your chin up and move forward. As I said, no one's really going to care about your numbers at the end of the day, but your family will care if you keep sacrificing everything else around them. So feel free to comment below. If you guys have any questions, put that as well. Otherwise, have a great day wherever you are.